not cut in more to Patrick's time, I will briefly introduce him. He's got quite, as you know, a lengthy list of accomplishments. Serving on our city council since 2001, elected as vice mayor in 2003 and mayor in 2004. But long before that, as you know, Patrick's had a life of civil service and of community service. He's served as an engineer and district manager and division manager, starting at the Regional Water Control Board in 1977 all the way up to his current position at the City of San Jose. He is affiliations long and wide, as well as being a Rotarian, as Steve mentioned. He's on the Board of Trustees of the Chinese Historical and Cultural Project, the Northwest YMCA Board of Directors, diplomat with the American Environmental Engineers, and many, many committees and boards. He's received several awards, the President's Award from the Water Environment Federation, the Distinguished Volunteer Fundraiser Award from AFP Silicon Valley Chapter, and the City Manager's Diversity Person of the Year Award from the City of San Jose. Most importantly, and I know he likes to talk about his family, he's married to Susan, registered nurse for 38 years. They have 6 children and 5 grandchildren, one very recently, as many of us know, and has been in the Bay Area for 38 years and 24 years as a Cupertino resident. It is my pleasure to introduce our mayor, Patrick Kwok.
I would like to invite some of the community volunteers to come up here, and that represents all the people that help to serve our community. Some of the city staff and commissions, and please join me in the podium. Thank you, Mike, for a very, very warm introduction. And Mike represents Apple Computer, one of the many examples of business leader and innovation that are the foundation of a long-term prosperity for our community. For the many neighborhood residents and public safety personnel, I thank you very much for helping to build strong and safe neighborhoods in Cupertino. I want to pause for a moment of silence to remember the victims of the tsunami disasters and all the soldiers and public safety officers who make the ultimate sacrifice to keep our nation and cities safe and maintain the hope of peace and democracy throughout the world. I'd like to acknowledge some of my special guests. I think Paul Fong, president of the Ansa Foothill, has already been introduced. Former Mayor Michael Chan, Monsignor Father Joseph Malani from St. Joseph of Cupertino Church, and Mr. and Mrs. Barbara and Dick Schumacher. And also acknowledge Monica Smith, representing Assemblywoman Sarah Lieber's office, and a couple of people from the Council of Generals in San Francisco, starting with Albert Lin. He is the Deputy Director of the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office, Albert. And also 2 of the very distinguished Deputy Counsel General from the People's Republic of China, Dong Defa, and also Zhong Zizhang. And welcome and thank you very much for coming. And lastly but not least, my family. My wife, Susan, we've been married for 40 years, over 40 years. My daughter, Candace and Stacy, sitting in the corner. And once again, thank you very much for the introduction and for everybody here this afternoon. To my colleagues on the City Council, starting with Vice Mayor Richard Lowenthal, and former Mayor Sandy James, Councilwoman Dolly Sandoval, and Chris Wang. It is you I have to thank for all that we have overcome and accomplished for the past years. You are dedicated public servants who have done a great job serving the people of Cupertino and making Cupertino a stronger and safer community. One of our colleagues, Sandy James, two-time mayors, will be leaving the council at the end of this year. And on behalf of the community, I want to thank you for all your hard work and accomplishments for the past years. And Sandy represents a true and dedicated public servant who has served as an elected official for more than 15 years. Thank you, Sandy. This year marks my 4th year serving on the City Council and first term as mayor. It is my highest honor to be here today to speak to you about the state of our city. It has been truly challenging these past 3 years. We are suffering through a national recession that has been catastrophic for many in Silicon Valley. Budget deficits at the federal, state, and county level have left us trying to provide the same vital services that our residents fully expect and deserve with fewer resources. The city budget process is the vehicle through which our council balances community needs with city resources. Budgets are value-driven. They are always filled with emotional arguments, whether it is for investment or reduction. Nothing, however, is more difficult and painful than choosing service and budget reductions that will have certain negative impact to members of our community. In spite of our nation being at war, the pain of recession, and the raise of local revenue by state and city, the city remains strong. Strong because we have a history of overcoming challenges. Strong because we have people who have joined me here today: teachers, police officers, firefighters, workers, neighborhood volunteers, a very, very strong, united city council, and most important, an excellent city staff. Despite a reduction of city staff of 10% and pay cuts, the city employees continue to maintain ongoing new services such as the teen programs, the new libraries, parks, community hall, expanded trails, and newly annexed areas. With me on stage is a team of men and women of different ages and ethnic backgrounds. These are the people that represent Cupertino, who work very, very hard to improve the quality of lives in Cupertino. Everyone works hard to provide quality local service in Cupertino, and the community has supported us. The passage of Proposition 1A will prevent future state rates on local tax revenue, but this is not going to take effect until 2008. In the next 3 years, we'll have very, very tough decisions to make. There's no better city prepared to come out of the recession than Cupertino. We are rapidly moving forward, building upon our successes and changing challenges into opportunities, loss into victory, and dreams into reality. I know that this council will show strong leadership as we make tough decisions. We'll plan for the future and not pass today's problems on the future. We will stay very focused on issues and values we hold as a community. Despite the economic downturn, people continue to come to Cupertino and live due to our excellent schools and high quality of life. The real estate market is booming in Cupertino, and in the past 3 years, we have welcomed the incorporation of 3 areas: Ranchos Rinconada, Garden Gate, and lastly, Monte Vista in our city. People have always come to Cupertino to work hard for their families. And compared to the national average, more than 65% of our residents, they have at least a college degree. And they are the ones who form the nucleus of the high technology Silicon Valley industries. We have the best schools in the state. We enjoy the Valley of Heart's Delights, the trails of Rancho San Antonio, the Stevens Creek Corridor, and McLaren Ranch and Blackberry Farm. Let me go back in time for a very short video to remind us where we came from and what we have accomplished together to build a strong city and neighborhoods, and what are the challenges ahead of us. Video, please. I want to share with you my report of significant city achievements and some challenges ahead, and emphasis on service improvements and partnership with community organizations and governmental organizations. Let's review some of the accomplishments in 2004. We start the year real well with the opening of the City Sports Center and the Teen Center. And then we had our first Senior Commission inauguration meeting in February. And also in February, we held a goal setting in Blackberry Farm to define the goals of the city and also some of the budget situation in there. And then we welcomed the incorporation of Monte Vista neighborhood in February. And followed by the second time, we have the Lunar New Year parade and International Fair. In March, we completed the General Task Force General Plan Update with recommendations. Follow that, we rededicate the Wilson Park. And also, we held the 8th Community Congress using the balance of bus board game to cut $2 million from our annual budget. We also worked very closely with the California Cricket Academy to start a youth cricket program on the library field. Once again, we rededicated the Polo Park. We reduced the budget of 2005 by $70,000 and operating costs up to $500,000 in capital costs by joining the San Jose Animal Control program instead of staying with the SAWACA, which is Santa Clara Valley Animal Control Authority. In June, after many series of public hearings, finally the City Council approved a balanced budget with very minimum of service cuts. And in June, we also adopted a parking ordinance, and in July, we held the 4th of July fireworks at the Cupertino High School. In July, we dedicated the Kelly Mill Plaza as a community gathering spot, the site of the city's and very successful Kelly Families enterprise. In August, we approved the single bin recycling program at no additional cost to the residents. In September, we received 2 awards from the League of California Cities, Helen Putnam Award in the Internal Administration category, and also in the Environmental Quality Planning category. In October, we approved a mixed-use residential and commercial project at Falco Fashion Park with 16 screen movie theaters. And in November, we opened the new library, community hall, and civic center, and followed by the approval of the R1 revision, changing the second stories for an area ratio from 35% to 45%, and providing more flexibility in addition without increasing the overall FAR. Let me just highlight a couple of achievements in here. The Sports Teen Center is a $2.5 million remodel and accessibility upgrade project completed in 4 months, early and within the budget that was set in March of 2004. The building lacked flexibility and American Disability Act accessibility standards. With the design assistance of an architect and Parks and Recreation and Public Works Department, we developed a program which contains a new fitness center, child watch area, a teen shop, multi-purpose room, and new shower and locker rooms. And the Kelly Mill Plaza. It is located in the southeast corner of the Stevens Creek Boulevard and De Anza. Intersection was molded into a plaza and dedicated in June of 2004, and maintained as a city park by a partnership between the city and Prometheus, a well-respected local developer. The cost is $1.4 million and was completed again on budget and on time and within budget. And of special interest are the fountains, the beautiful sculpture, the perspective, the steel trellises, and hardy landscaping. Also included in that is a library civic center project. It's a 54,000 square feet, 2-level state-of-the-art library with automatic checkout and stations, courtyard, and 4,000 gallons of aquarium and coffee shop. 6,000 square feet of community hall, which serves as a council and commission's meeting chambers, which can be converted into meeting space with audio-visual capability for up to 220 people in banquet seating. And 1 acre of civic plaza with an orchard of trees donated by the Rotary Club of Cupertino and 30 jet fountain. This project was $24.3 million, approved by City Council in August of 2001, and where Council set a goal for a community fundraising campaign to pay for the future furniture and fixtures in the library. This effort has been far raised, over $725,000, and is still underway. The cost of the entire project is $300,000 under the established of 2001 budget with no any outstanding claims or other disputes. And by renting the community hall out for a variety of event like parties, banquets, and corporate meetings, the city estimates that the facility will generate $25,000 to $30,000 of annual revenue. It is the only council chamber we know that will pay for its own operation. I want to focus my vision for this year on the following 6 areas. Fiscal management. You look at the declining economy, we need to have a very strong fiscal management. Let's review the general fund revenues. You look at the general fund revenue, 26% come from sales tax, 10% from intergovernmental revenues such as grants, 11% from property tax. The expenditures, we have a budget of $31,890,000. 30% goes to public works to maintaining our infrastructure, street and roads, and 21% go into law enforcement. 11% goes back to pay for the debt services, and 13% go to administrating services. And general fund trends. And look at the year 2000 and 2001, the peak revenues was over $30 million in tax and other income. And when you look at 2004, 2005, the revenues is down to $27 million. And yet we hold our budget pretty much remain the same, down to about $27 million in our expenditures for 2004, 2005. If you look at the sales tax revenues, 2001, we have $11.8 million. 2005, we projected that it was only $8.4 million. And you look at the general fund reserve. Council has a policy to maintain a $15 million reserve, $10 million for economic uncertainty, and about $5 million for capital. And right now we're holding at about $12.6 million in reserve, a little bit short of the $15 million. But you look at the capital projects we've been doing for the past year, starting with 99, the senior centers, which is $4.5 million. The ADA upgrade of the sports center is $2.3 million. And also the library and community center, which is about $24.3 million. We are drawing down a little bit on the reserve, but these are for capital budgets without raising taxes for our citizens. We need to have very, very strong management to work on our budget deficits for this year. Number one, we need to improve the efficiency of our city staff. Secondly, we always been refinancing our bonds. And thirdly, we look for innovative way to secure grants to leverage capital improvement budget. You look at the city populations from 2002, 2005, it went from 52.3 up to about 53.4. So the population is increasing. You look at the city staff. In 2002, we have 153, and we are down to 138. So in terms of residents per employees, we start with 340 residents per employee. Now it went up to 380 employees for residents for 1 employee. And this is the special thanks to the David Knapp, our city managers, in holding the number of city employees. And I look at the finance to refinance our bonds. We started with $4.9 million indebtedness, and it went down to 3.5. Grants. Grants is a way that we can secure additional funding. Stephen Street Corridor, we got $1.4 million in a grant. Mary Avenue Bicycle Footbridge, $6.7 million grant. Safe Route to School, $405,000. Portal and Wilson Park's renovation, $570,000. Local Medical Reserve Corporation, COPS, we received $150,000 grants. And Bay Area Air Quality Management District, we got $100,000 grant. And total, we received over $9 million of grant, and we'll continue to look for ways and applying for grants so that we can leverage more to build our capital projects. And I want to, the next area I want to look at what we can do to foster the economic growth in our Silicon Valley. And growth is unavoidable. We must have smart growth. And we're going to focus more on retail growth, housing element, and most important, the revitalization of the Valco Fashion Mall, the Menlo equities, and I'll talk a little bit about the HP property, which has been vacant for many, many years. It has been said that business come to where they are wanted, and they stay where they appreciate it. I will continue to work with council to streamline the process and cut red tape. We must help businesses, small or large, to thrive, and we must bring in new business to join them. We need to do all we can to show business world that Cupertino is one of the best cities in California to do business. I want to address the growth issue in here. We must have smart growth, as growth is unavoidable. We're going to strengthen our retail market growth, the housing element, and Valco, and most important, revitalization of Valco and Menlo properties and HP properties. Through retail smart growth, we have increased retail by over 169,000 square feet in the past years. And this includes BJ Restaurant and Brewery, Elephant Bar, Portland, 20,000 square feet of Town Center Civic Park, 1,800 square foot in the Wolf Camera, 6,400 square feet in Menlo Equities, 2,400 square feet in Good Earthside, and 138,000 square feet in the proposed Valco Rosebud space. Through housing growth, we have increased housing units by 528 units and below market rate by 78 in the past 3 years. 56 in historic housing and 8 BMR, 142 units in Town Center, Civic Park with 21 units of below market rate. Housing, 107 units of in Menlo Equities housing projects with 6 BNR. In Sharon Garden, we had additional 13 housing units with 2 BNR. And Valco units, we have approved 204 units at the Rose Bowl housing units and 31 units of below market housing. We have several projects that have either been approved or being considered for approval. Number one is the revitalization of Valco. It is a three-phase project. Phase one is the Dynasty Seafood Restaurant. 28,000 square feet dining for over 1,000 patrons and banquets facilities and VIP rooms. And it was open in the summer, and they have a long waiting list in terms of booking for weddings and special functions. The Alexander's Steakhouse, a 10,000 square feet of dining in over 200 patrons with extensive wine bottle selection, and this one is scheduled to begin business sometime in March or April. And we had the state-of-the-art of 16 cinema screens, 3,500 seats, 80,000 square foot of movie theater. And in talking to Valco management, they have received verbal agreements with JCPenney, Sears, and Macy in terms of the design, and they have already being reviewed on the demolition permit, and hopefully the demolition will begin in March and April. And this project will bring in the theaters to Cupertino in the November of 2006, just before the holiday seasons begin. Then we move on to phase two of the project. which is development of the Rose Bowl, providing 138,000 square feet of retail and 204 housing units, and also an international food court near JCPenney in the upper level. Additional parking spaces, and the completion is expected sometime in December 2006. And finally is the phase 3, which is development of the North Macy parking lot. And the next big project is the Mano Equities project, which is council has already approved, and a project is already under construction, 6,400 square feet of retail, 107 housing units. And finally, the HP property that they came to council last week, we approved authorizing them to do the general plan amendment, and we envision that they will add an additional 100,000 square feet of retail and over 300 housing units. But these units will be considered this project by City Council in the coming months. Thirdly, I want to emphasize very strongly on the culture and social highlights. Let's look at the city demographics. And you look at it, 50.1% are white, and the rest of those are Asian, Indian, Chinese, Filipino, Japanese, Korean, Vietnamese, and others. And you see we're very, very fortunate to have a very diverse community. And we celebrate the Unity Parade, Oktoberfest, the Cherry Blossom Festival, the Diwali, the Festival of Lights, the Moon Festival, Art and Wine, Shakespeare in the Park, summer concert, and cinema at sundown. The next one is I want to focus on maintenance of public safety. And public safety is a very high priority despite budget constraints. We look at the number of safety officers in the past years. We maintain 27 public safety officers assigned to the city, although last year I think we eliminated the DARE program, but we maintain a lot of assignments for the public safety officers. We completed investigating over 3,000 crimes in the past years. We also increased the law enforcement budget. The law enforcement budget in the past years, and you look at the graphs in here, starting in 2002, we had a budget of $5,800,000, and as fiscal 2005 and here, we increased it to around about $66,700,000. And I want to mention that the increase is being offset by a couple of things that at the county sheriff office is the retirement and relocation of that, and also the benefits, and that are the results of the increase. But the number of police officers have remained very, very stable. And reported crimes. In 2002, we have over 1,600 crimes reported and investigated. And 2004, it went down to below 1,400 crimes investigated. That shows how effective our law enforcement program is, and thanks to all the help from our public safety officers. The next one is the youth and seniors. We started the teen center in early part of January and continue with the mobile skate park. We also continue with the school resources officer in different high schools. At the seniors, we commissioned the first one in the Senior Commission, and that was so dear to me. And we formed our first commission, and then we had the first meeting in February 18. And this year, we'll be celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Cupertino Center, and we reinstate the case manager officers, and we continue to provide different functions and programs at the city center. These are the program. And I also want to improve communications and strengthen communication with residents. We are keeping residents notified on a variety issues by expanding the notifications, have our special workshop meeting at 5 o'clock televised, and also we're going to hold our community congress and some town hall meetings. And we have residents who belong to the SURF program and also the Broad Leaders program. They will be fully notified of any issues or any changes in our city council agenda. In Cupertino, people care and people get involved. During my term as a mayor, I want to be assured that when we discuss the future of our city, that everyone has access to the same information. Our community can only make informed decisions with good information and communication. And finally, I want to talk about what are the challenges ahead. And as I indicated earlier, we need to promote smart growth and without compromising quality of our education and traffic and environmental impacts. We need to complete the McLaren Master Plan and also the Stevens Creek Corridor and provide trails compatible with natural settings. We will be completing the Mary Avenue bicycle and footbridge project and complete the general plan amendments with strong focus on three things: the density, the height, and the setback. And finally, like to provide city services even though we have diminished resources and budget. Some highlights of the Stevens Creek Corridor and McLaren Ranch. What are the issues? The conceptual plan includes creek restoration trails, new picnic facilities, and environmental classrooms at McLaren Ranch. Council set goals are preserve and restore the natural environment of the creek and provide trails. Acknowledge the history of the area through historical markers and preservation of buildings. The council had meetings scheduled in February and March. The work products includes a variety of things, including the stream geomorphic baseline assessment, restorations or alternates, habitat restoration, archaeological survey, wetland delineation, traffic survey, biological survey, and all other California Environmental Quality Act requirements that we need to be completed by the fall of 2005. Some of the key issues in this project is we need to decide where the Stevens Creek Trail should go. What type of trail we are going to have, multi-purpose trail or what? Raising enough money to build a project, which is estimated to be $7 to $8 million. So we are looking for more grant funding. And determine where to close the picnic operations at Blackberry Farm. And working very closely with Historical Society to ensure that the Stockmeyer House and other historical structures are made available to the public. The Mary Avenue bicycle and footbridge. This project is a cable suspended footbridge over Interstate 280, connecting both sides of Mary Avenue to complete a pedestrian bicycle route from De Anza College eventually to San Francisco Bay. This project is currently funded by Caltrans, the cities of Cupertino and Sunnyvale, and VTA. A feasibility study was completed, and then the design, and I believe that this project, the design is going to council approval in February the 2nd, and with the project completion day is the 2006. And finally, I have a couple of announcements to be made. This fall, we'll celebrate Cupertino's 50th birthday, its Golden Jubilee. And Cupertino has always been a town that has valued collaboration and teamwork. Therefore, it is only very appropriate that this September, the city of Cupertino, in conjunction with the Chamber of Commerce and Cupertino Rotary, will collaboratively to host this special event. More than just another festival, it's our Golden Jubilee, 50th year of history of Cupertino. It's an opportunity for everyone to come together and celebrate a very special place we call home. We have a lot to celebrate. We are combining the Art and Wine Festival and Oktoberfest. And the kickoff of the Jubilee celebration is on March 12th when we do our Lunar New Year parade. And I want to conclude with a couple of thoughts in addition to the 6 areas that we should focus on. There have been many significant accomplishments during the past several years. Our leadership challenge, however, may have just begun. We face an uncertain future that is likely to be filled with many difficult choices, choices that will leave some citizens and groups disappointed and others relieved. But we must remember that is why we are here. We represent the values, the traditions, and the qualities of people that make Cupertino a special place that is. Rest be assured that the City Council, we will have a place today, is what that will strive to embolden and uphold the qualities that we hold high. I am very heartened by the willingness of our City Council, the members of staff, and most importantly, the people in our community to tackle new challenges and work together for solutions. By working together, we are creating a community that works for all of us for many generations to come. I remember when I joined the council 3 years ago, there was no city center. We did not have a new library. There was no low Kali Mill Plaza. The old community room was inadequate. We did not have any unity parade. We did not have any senior commission. There has been several unsuccessful attempts to be made in the revitalization of the Valco Fashion Mart. Today, as it has always been, Cupertino is a vibrant, innovative, multicultural community. We enjoy the benefit from our multicultural events. Our public safety programs remain effective and maintain the tradition of quality. We will continue our collaborative efforts to partner with the high-tech industries and Chamber of Commerce to ensure more retail-friendly environment in Cupertino. We have increased our below-market rate from 10 to 15% to provide more affordable housing for our law enforcement people and also our Cupertino residents and teachers. The planned revitalization of Valco Fashion Mart shows great promise. The movie theaters, coupled with specialties and high-end retail enterprises, are sure to return Valco to its status as a regional attraction. In addition to this, development funds has always been earmarked to allow additional funding for parks and open spaces. These successes and the focus, well-communicated values and ideas that underlie them are what guides me every day in maintaining the vision of our future. I see our children with their families growing up in a city that creates a future for every resident and for every neighborhood. I'm honored to be a part of the City Council and staff that is fully committed to quality and smart growth. And I am confident that the spirit that makes Cupertino such a unique and special place, a model city of Cupertino. Ladies and gentlemen, the future of Cupertino is bright, and we have each and every one of you to thank for, and congratulations, and thank you very much.